Good morning, fantasy football fans. How's it this morning?
Good. How you doing?
Second cup of coffee. I'm ready to go, to be honest
with you, Chris. I'm on my second too.
I'm on my second pot.
Oh.
All right.
Just finished up one pot.
Welcome to Getting Defensive, sponsored by Gridiron Ratings. We are live every Tuesday and Friday morning and do a special guest show once a month on Sundays. This morning we are joined by Johny The Greek and Chris Robin, and we will be discussing the NFC South defensive players for IDP. Who's excited?
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit better division, I think.
For sure.
Last week was a little bit lackluster. What did we cover? The AFC South? No.
The NFC South has arguably, the number one overall IDP selection in Devin White. I mean, am I right? Again, I say arguably because depending on what leagues you play in, what's the scoring format, Devin White is a stone cold stud any way you slice it. But is he your number one overall IDP asset?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I said that wrong. Actually, we didn't cover AFC South last week. We had a change in agenda, but we've covered. Johny, what did we cover? The NFC North, and AFC North, and they were like,
it's abysmal.
Overall. So we're ready to rock and roll. Then, if you guys don't care, we'll probably go ahead and go with the obvious. What Chris was just hitting on with Devin White, and we'll start off. And Chris, you might as well roll right in with the Tampa Bay. What you got for us?
Sure, absolutely. So we chatted for, not specifically, but we all got together in a group chat and kind of this is what we're going to talk about. On Monday. And if I look at it's, how can I put this? It's pretty cut and dry when it comes to overall IDP assets, but it's pretty cut and dry with each team. Like on the offensive side of the ball, everybody talks about the studs, McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, things along those lines. I should have given you a heads up, but I wrote a buy, sell, and hold for kind of each team in this division. And to me, I'm selling Shaq Thompson, first round pick out of Washington in 2015. While he's been a fine IDP kind of asset over the last two seasons, he doesn't do anything particularly well. If I remember correctly, Shaq was a very nice waiver wire ad, I believe, in like the mid 2019 season, and he is a starting linebacker for IDP purposes. But I'm looking to shop him if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I need a linebacker depth, or I need a guy to plug and play if you kind of screwed yourself over in the draft, if it's a startup, something along those lines." And then the excitement was around, as I said, in 2019, and he was able to work next side of Luke Kuechly in Carolina, and now it's just kind of he's just kind of there, which is okay depending on the scoring system. But to me, I'm looking to sell Shaq Thompson if I have him on my team.
Yeah. So we're going to go with Panthers first, guys. I gotta agree.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
No, it's fine.
I'm so excited. I don't know what I'm saying.
Hey, roll,
this is a good division.
Roll.
You're right.
And no argument out of me. I totally agree too on Shaq Thomas. I did. Me and Roxanne a few weeks ago. I did my fade, shade, trade, and upgrade on the linebackers. And Shaq Thompson, if I didn't mention him, I'd know that he was right there as a fade and trade. I gotta agree. He's no longer, even with Luke Kuechly there, he wasn't realistically the best guy on the field, but he still, his role was there. So, but I got a feeling with the little bit of a scheme change and the changing of the guard over there with the Panthers that, you got Chin playing linebacker, which people don't really understand. Chin did not play strong safety whatsoever last year. He recorded all of his snaps at the inside linebacker position. Doesn't matter what these sites have on there. You just got to look at the snap counts. Justin Burris, and when he was healthy, he got 100% of the snaps at the strong safety position. But either way, I have to agree completely. Johny, you want to hit any of the rest of the you want to comment, hit any of the rest, start off the rest of the the crew
Yeah.
with us?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Good morning. Glad to see everyone. Draft's getting close. Things are getting nice again, somewhat. Okay, so Panthers, Shaq Thompson. Yeah, I mean, I'm into it depending on the price. Denzel Perryman, no. Hassan Reddick, no, not unless the site messes up and makes him a defensive
I think he
end.
was mentioning Thomas as a sell. Are you
Yeah,
selling
he's
him
a
or are you holding him?
I'm going to sell if I can. Sorry to cut you off, Johnny.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I don't know. It's a linebacker, right? Linebackers are like toilet paper. You can get them nice and easy these days. Not so much last
A year
March,
ago,
but
not so much.
yeah, but now, yeah, now you can get them. So yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do there. Brian Burns, yes. Gross Matos, no. Derek Brown, no. Roy Brovia, no. Jeremy Chin, yes. Justin Burris, no. Unless he's a corner. Some sites had him dual designated last year, so that'd be cool if you could find that. Dante Jackson, yes. Troy Pride, no. So those are the guys I'm like into and not into on that team overall. Yeah, Thompson was a little disappointing last year. Reddick will be interesting to see how he's designated in some of these places. And yeah, I mean, Brian Burns, I think, is trending in the right direction. I'm not sold on Gross Matos, though. What do you guys think on that? I've seen conflicting thoughts.
Hit it.
Sorry about that. I'm willing to give him a chance. So last year was his rookie season, and he still remains one of my favorite targets this offseason as a defensive lineman who we know, that DL kind of slot. If you play, in hyper competitive, very specific leagues where it's not all lumped into DBs or it's not all lumped into defensive linemen, where you can roster a separate D tackle and then two separate defensive ends like Gross Matos is. I've covered him before, and he's a guy that there's little to no excitement about, and in today's day and age, that's crazy to me, given the fact that the wave on social media where every day, every week, there's a new flavor here. And he didn't do much last season, but again, it's his first season, his rookie season. I think he's going to be able to, be more than a rotational piece coming into the season. He could start opposite of Brett Burns, as you just mentioned, who was the second most productive edge rusher on his team. In like week 9 to 10, he had, I believe, in a 2 to 3 game span, he had 1.5 sacks. He had 12 QB pressures and 15 total tackles, only behind Burns on that team. So again, a young kid, right, that can be had for next to nothing. In my, 14 team IDP, full PPR IDP team, Burns is just being tossed around. People are trading him, and they're looking at Gross Matos as kind of a throw-in. If you get that drift, like, hey, well, I want to make this trade. Well, I have like a 3rd or 4th round selection for next year. Or you can have Gross Matos. Well, I'm going to accept Gross Matos anytime here. And again, Carolina to me as a whole, I know we're talking defense, but Carolina to me, with the addition of Sam Darnold, they're going to be a team to watch in that division. It's still Tampa Bay's to lose, but in the improvement on the offensive side of ball, that's only going to help them on the defensive side. I mean, that's just, football 101. So to me, Johnny, Gary, and Rox, Gross Matos is a massive ad for me, and it's an under the radar one. Nobody's paying attention to, but if you're kind of in the know like we are, he makes for a spectacular ad.
Yeah, I don't think, and it depends on how deep it is. If I'm going to go reaching for him right away, I mean, if it's a deep format and I have plenty of bench space, yeah, I probably would add him. I'm thinking Hassan Reddick is got to be the guy that they're going to have on the weak side linebacker or weak side edge rusher position, and they're going to have Burns in there on it. Unfortunately, in my opinion, for Burns owners, I don't think he's going to get the chance to develop into the player that he possibly could have been if they hadn't signed Reddick from that weak side. So, my main target, figuring, nothing is confirmed, but that because Hassan Reddick is kind of all of a sudden we're taking a guy that in college with his coach was his coach in college too. The way they used him was kind of like a stand-up defensive end. He had his hand in the ground a lot, but he also come off there like an outside linebacker. But with that being said, kicking Burns over to the strong side has to happen if they're actually going to use Reddick as a defensive lineman. It'll be interesting, what kind of value he holds in what certain leagues because of what he might be designated as. Technically, as of right now, from what I understand, looking at ESPN, which is the only off-season depth charts I trust personally, which they're still not completely right. I think he will be a defensive end, and I don't think that I'm going to want to own him as an outside linebacker or a linebacker in any designation, because the fact is, unless he's sack heavy formatted, he's probably not going to be more than an LB2, depending on how deep you go in your tiers. Burns, maybe I don't know. I'm concerned about Burns. Again, he's going to be probably kicked over to the strong side rusher, and his opportunities are going to be a little bit less. His role could actually change a little bit because he may not be sent after that quarterback so much. Mattis, he's sitting on the shelf, keeping an eye on him. Got some great points on there. He should be in the mix. They should have a rotation, but who's it going to be with? Who's at whose expense? I figure it's going to be at Burns, if anybody. The one position everybody else was actually pretty well covered. I mean, it's the basics in this division. I'm keeping my eye on Sam Franklin. Now that Boston is no longer the free safety there, Sam Franklin stepped in when Justin Burns went down and he played strong safety. He is actually a linebacker out of college. He slotted in there. He did okay. He didn't embarrass himself, I guess you could say. I believe he was like a late 6th, 7th round draft last year, or a draft pick. So I'm curious, looking at this depth chart here, Justin Burris was formerly a cornerback, right, John? Before he became a safety down here?
So I've seen him designated as both. They got injured so much last year. He did a little bit of everything in that backfield, which was nice because you could take advantage of that. If he's playing safety and he's still designated a corner,
he had a few good games.
Cheat code, so.
Yeah, I was actually rooting for people to pick him up, but unfortunately, then Chin just dominated, so it didn't leave much IDP meat on the bone for Burris every game.
Right.
But if it's me, I wouldn't be shocked for one. Either the starting free safety is not on this squad right now, and we might see something happen, later on, either in the draft or something like that. But in my opinion, if I'm looking at this right now, I think it's a very good possibility that we see Sam Franklin get a shot at the strong safety position. And being that Burris has a history of playing a normal cornerback type position, that type of guy, that he could be moved back. They really like him. I know that. So he could be moved back to the free safety spot in place of Boston and run that defense from back there, that secondary. So if nobody's got anything else to add.
Real quick, I just want to say, because you did the homework here, and I'd be upset if I wasn't able to mention this. When it comes to Jeremy Chin, I don't know about you, but in my league and the few leagues I play in, there's a frenzy to get Jeremy Chin, and I believe it's well warranted. And before we move on, I just want to say that there's a list of the top 10 safeties with the most instances of making first contact on a play in the 2020 regular season. Jeremy Chin is 4th. 84 times he made first contact on a play, only behind Keanu Neal and Daniel Sorensen. Both are unrestricted free agents. So as you know, first contact can lead to a number of things. Tackles, which are, the end all be all in IDP formats, fumbles and sacks, whatever it is. So Jeremy Chin is no doubt in my mind the top 5 safety. It is Daniel Sorensen is number 1.
No. Who's
Trey Boston? John Marcy at PFF Marcy.
Really? Okay.
Trey Boston is 5th and Jordan Poyer is 5th. They're both tied at 81. And Chin, as I said, is 84. Baker, 86. Keanu Neal, 88. And Daniel Sorensen, who we knew made a name for himself in the playoffs with Kansas City.
So despite the actual fact that he played linebacker, was not a strong safety, this fella at PFF still has him listed going into this year playing the strong safety position, which we know how it's going to probably work out. Is it's going to be LB/safety. just because he came out of college. I was going to pull up the official snap counts. He played none at safety. It was all at starting inside linebacker. That's, he sent Whitehead straight to the bench, and it was him and Thompson. So, just something for owners, not arguing the fact on the first contact, oh, yeah, he was killer. I don't give a shit if they change him to the water boy. He is definitely an up-and-coming player that we all need to keep an eye on. So whatever his designation is.
Say too is Chris. There is a frenzy going on for Jeremy Chin. He's in that top 3 to be talking.
What I worry about is kind of like the Darius Leonard syndrome. His rookie season was so good. Can he repeat that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. There are sophomore slumps. So what do you think? Anything on that, Johnny?
It's a safety, man. I'll just get something off waivers. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. Okay.
it's safeties and linebackers are replaceable.
Yeah. All right. So you got us started here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Where do you go next? Falcons?
Sure.
Falcons. Not much going on there.
Yeah. A little bit. Okay, I'll fire away here. So I love Deion Jones. I love Foye Oluokun. Great breakout season for Foye. Gary's loved that guy for years. So Gary was on that one first. Good stuff, Gary. Dante Fowler, massive letdown, even if he is designated a D end, which he isn't everywhere. So disappointment on top of disappointment. I'm all set there. Jacob Tutiati, Mariner, no. Grady Jarrett, yes. Tyler Davidson, no. Safety, brand new unit. It says it's Eric Davis, the former Raider, or Jalen Watkins as the current starters. I don't know if I believe that. I'll just wait and see. Maybe take a stab later in drafts or on one or the other, and maybe see if I get a free safety out of it. Corners, AJ Terrell, yes. Isaiah Oliver, no. Kendall Sheffield, no. That's who I'm interested, not interested there. What do you guys think?
Well, to me, I'm going to buy Mykal Walker, linebacker. I think I'm going to sell who we can all agree on was the darling of waivers last season, Foyce Okuyan. People added him, and then he went instantly from a waiver wire ad to being in your starting roster week in and week out. He led the Falcons in tackles, for God's sakes. 117.
Was listening to me, Okuyan did not start out on the season on the waiver wire.
Well, we're not all in the know, Gary. People.
That's true. Just
if they read the tipster, if you want to drop a dime, you go see Gary, and you'll get this information. But in circles I've seen, again, we all know that IDP is not very. It's gaining popularity, but it's not has the same hype as a super flex league. So casual fans, your work buddies, your father-in-laws, the leagues you're in with them, nobody paid attention to Foyce, so you were able to add him and go forward. Grady Jarrett is a hold for me. Defensive tackles, like Johnny said, linebackers and safeties are a dime a dozen, where defensive tackles, they can make themselves available throughout the season. But I hate getting done with my draft without like a top 10 stud defensive tackle. And Grady Jarrett is just that for me. Great pass rusher. He had his lowest tackles since 2017, but he's still the best defensive tackle available on that team right now.
Yeah, I think Johnny hit a lot of it. You hit a lot of it. I do like the Walker buy. I'm thinking more dynasty. I don't think that it's a very good possibility. I believe that Okuyan could be gone next year. I think he's in his last year of his contract or so. They had picked up his 5th or something. So I'm looking at Walker as a great stash down the road. I don't know what Jones's the other middle inside linebacker. I don't know what his contract looks like, but Walker is definitely a stash and watch and see for me. When it comes to Hawkins, I've seen a lot of love out there about Hawkins. I'm not sold either. Again, one of those situations, I'm not sure if Eric Harris, I kind of buy as the free safety. That he'll start as the free safety. I'm not buying him as a IDP productive person, But then when it comes to Hawkins, I mean, yeah, sure. Right now, this time of year, he's a good flyer. But I am not sold that a 4th-round pick from last year that had 8 combined tackles is ready to step in and be the starter at strong safety. So the defensive line is porous. To say the least. You got Grady Jarrett, which he had a little bit of a down year, I think, last year, but he is still, in talent-wise, a top 5 defensive tackle in my book. The one guy that I'm going to keep an eye on and just see where he's at on waiver wires will be the Stephen Means. I would like to see him get some more playing opportunities this year, considering what he did last year when the defensive line was completely devastated by injury, and they were just rotating the hell out of some really deep guys. He had a couple of decent games, and he actually he was a hot waiver wire ad there for a couple of weeks maybe, and then he fell off. But his playing time did at the same time. He got after the quarterback pretty good. I think he recorded a couple of sacks. So just in general, this team, we all know, is in some kind of form of another transformation. They got a new coaching staff in there. We might see a little bit different scheming, but overall, if we're looking at this division, this one's probably arguably the most boring one to look at this time.
I just want to say real I just want to say, I'm predisposed to think of football from a DFS perspective. We all know like that. That's what I like to do. That's what I'm best at. And if Atlanta does what we think they're going to do and just add weapons offensively, like Jamar Chase, let's say, 4th overall, and go for it. They still have Matt Ryan and Julio. They're going to go all in, and in turn, they might hang 30 to 35 points a game. So their defense is going to be on the field a whole heck of a lot. And as we say, opportunity is king, volume is king, all these things. And I fully expect Atlanta to be put in a lot of tough spots defensively. And again, as fantasy football players, I don't really care who wins the game. I just I care who scores the most points. And Atlanta's defense is going to be on the field a whole heck of a lot, which is going to lead to volume, which is going to lead to opportunity here. So if I'm left, gun to my head in the later rounds, and I have Okun or Mikel there, I'm going to select them over other guys just based on prospective opportunities, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense, in fact.
Yep. So we're drafting Okun, Jones, and Jarrett high. The rest of them can all have opportunities. So you mentioned Walker and everybody. I mean, yep, you're probably right. This defense is going to be wore out by the end of next season.
Right.
So.
And then we'll move on to New Orleans, because I think it's possible the same situation there, rebuilding that whole team, They're starting over there. They don't even know who their quarterback is at this point. So things could get dicey, just like for the Falcons, for the Saints defense also. Who are you guys drafting?
Oh, I guess it's my turn to go first, huh? Let's see here. Cameron Jordan. Oh, let's see about him, because he, unfortunately, for the last couple of years, has been playing a lot of the strong side rusher. He is still getting the job done. But they have Marcus Davenport when he was actually healthy last year, and even Trey Henderson, which is now with Cincinnati. I think it was his name. Those guys were pretty much playing the weak side, the blind side. So, I mean, I'm still buying Cameron Jordan. He's still a low DL1 for me, or DE1 edge rusher, personally. The rest of them, I'm not buying Marcus Davenport. He has had the opportunity when he's been healthy. He did not get it done. I do wonder if it was because he was being focused on last year, because of, they traded up, Saints traded up big time to get him. I think they gave up like 4 draft picks to Miami or something to pick Davenport in the second round. So there's a lot of draft capital in there. I don't expect them to give up on him this year, but I just can't recommend him as a stash anymore after last year. We got Davis, the same old thing with Davis. I'm not 100% sure about this Andrew Dole. Right now, the only linebacker that I'm really convinced in is, of course, is Davis. Zach Bond might have the opportunity, but if he is stuck playing that strong safety or strong line inside linebacker position, he's probably not going to amount to much of what when Klein played it. So you got Malcolm Jenkins. There's a good play. Don't know much about cornerbacks. Not my forte. Marcus Williams will be Marcus Williams. He'll have his up games. He'll have his down games. They just paid him big to come back, but he's not like one of our top options in IDP. Pretty much all I have for them.
I've looked at, one of my favorite kind of DBs has been Marcus Lattimore. But if anybody remembers, he was arrested a month or two ago and they found a gun in the car. Now, I know this is all, him being arrested with a gun it's common knowledge. But again, innocent until proven guilty. And that might have bearing on, his regular season snaps or where we go. So I just want to keep that in mind. He's a high tackle, ball hawking kind of guy, on the outside for New Orleans. So he's still on my team. I started him week in and week out, but this arrest, bums me out in terms of where we can go with Marcus Lattimore. In terms of Marcus Davenport, Gary, I think he's a buy only because, Trey Hendrickson is gone now, and Trey Hendrickson, being there kind of, suppressed what Davenport was doing. He only had 1.5 sacks last season. And again, Davenport's value has never been lower. So you can get him next to nothing, maybe even on the waivers the day after your draft here. So to me, Davenport, he flashed in limited opportunity. He had a strong pass rush grade, 73.3% for the second straight year. He's entering a contract year this season. And again, low ball offers, you can get him next to nothing. And as I said, Trey Hendrickson is, I believe, in Cincinnati this season. He's opposite of Cameron Jordan, as you pointed out, Gary. So to me, he has a chance to bounce back at very low cost to me. So I'm going to buy Marcus Davenport personally. And again, I'm going to hold Demario Davis. I've always been a fan, and it's no secret, of high character guys. Demario Davis is a good man, does a lot of philanthropic work, and I know that doesn't accumulate points for our fantasy teams, but you can trust him week in and week out. He's going to be in the lineup. He's a high motor guy, and he ranks very high among off-ball linebackers in terms of rush attempts, total pressures, sacks, QB hits, and he's got a very extremely high pass rush grade. So I'm going to buy Demario Davis anywhere I can.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm with you guys on pretty much all these. Demario Davis, yes. Zach Bond, Andrew Dowell, nah, I'm good, man. New names, same shit, right? So last year it was Quan, it was who else was there? Klein was there back in the day. Like, they just don't have a productive linebacker besides Davis. That's just how their defense is set up until
Even
that changes.
When they got known Alexander or whatever.
Yeah, right.
They used him part-time. He only had a couple of contests that he got decent.
He had one good game. He had one good game last year.
Yep.
That's it. So waste of money. Waste of fantasy money.
Then they released him, right?
Right. So Cam Jordan, I'm into. Davenport, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I would take a stab just because, Chris could be right or Gary could be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
they both made very compelling arguments.
Yeah, I've toted Davenport since he's been in the league, and he's wore me out. You know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from. I'm not disagreeing with Chris. I'm not getting defensive with Chris. I'm just saying, right? You like how I dropped that in there, folks? Anyway,
good job.
Right.
I love it.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I'm wore the hell out. I have said, hey, keep an eye on Davenport for so damn long. And then last year, I actually, not to interrupt you, John, but I actually contribute what Hendrickson was able to do last year based on the fact that I think that when Davenport and Jordan and Hendrickson were all on the field a lot, that everybody was focusing on everybody else leaving Hendrickson open to make a play. And call me crazy. We'll soon find out if he is what he is in Cincinnati. But either way, John, please continue.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So no, I think the way to split the uprights on that is just, if he drops, take him,
Right.
Yeah, so moving on to D tackle, I actually like David Onyemata a lot. He's super underrated for a D tackle, kind of under the radar guy. I'd be into that. Shy Tuttle, however, no, I'm good. Malcolm Jenkins, yeah, absolutely. That guy is a stud, and he doesn't miss games, and he's pretty consistent, and he's a solid safety, and he's not one of those like glitzy names that you have to worry about taking stupid early. So, yep, I'm into it. Marcus Williams, nope. Like Gary said, he's all over the place. I'd rather have consistency. CJ Gardner Johnson, though, that's a possibility. And if your league, there's talk of him moving possibly to corner this year, but I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on that because if he plays a similar role to last year and has similar consistency in production, but is listed as a corner, that's awesome. That's a cheat code right there. So keep an eye on that. Lattimore, not ideal on the gun charge. I actually didn't know that. Oh man, that's
about a month or so ago.
Yeah, I remember seeing the blurb. I had forgotten about it until Chris brought it up.
I forgot about it too. Yeah,
but I'm not a cornerback guy. Even as a Buckeye in trouble, imagine that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that never happens.
My Buckeyes, damn it.
But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see because Lattimore, yeah, he had definite IDP value. But the other corner there too does, right? Like Jackrabbit, I believe it was last year. Jenkins had a ton of value too. So Lattimore is good, but he doesn't get targeted as often. So whoever that second corner is, it could be Patrick Robinson. It looks like could have some serious value there too. So we'll have to
Williams
keep an eye on that.
Still on that damn roster.
Yeah, but that's really all I'm into on the Saints. Pretty cut and dry over there.
Okay.
I think real quick, I mean, considering the offense, considering what they're going through, I think they're going to draft some cornerbacks or a cornerback. I wouldn't be surprised if they might not, considering, especially what Lattimore is going through, that we might see him draft a little high. So we'll see.
Keep an eye on that.
It's just depends.
Right. So now we want to move to Tampa Bay, Super Bowl champions, keeping their defense together.
You're Tom Brady.
Unheralded. They re-signed and they're bringing back all 22 starters. That's never happened in the Super Bowl era. All guys on defense, all guys on offense, and I like it. They're going to make another push for the Super Bowl. And let's be honest, as long as they have Tom Brady as their quarterback, whether you like him or you don't like him, Tom Brady is fantastic. He's a gamer. He speaks for himself. But to me, Vita Vea is a big buy for me, defensive tackle. And then we get to that. To me, Jeremy Chin and Antoine Winfield Jr. will always be tied together. Same draft class, same position, same kind of, skill set here. And, I could argue either way, buy or sell, but that always comes down to value. Where are you going to get him? Where are your league mates kind of valuing him? And right now, Antoine Winfield Jr. is being talked about in circles like Jamal Adams, Budda Baker, Jeremy Chin. So that leads me to believe that his value it's through the roof. So it wouldn't make any sense to go out and get him at his certain price here. And again, what can we say about Devin White? To anybody that's watching this now or will watch this, we kind of talked. I mentioned him before we went live here that Devin White is arguably the best overall IDP player. Along TJ Watt maybe or the maniac in Indianapolis in Darius Leonard here. But again, you're going to hold Devin White, because he's kind of Devin White is in that rarefied air where you can't really buy him. You're going to have to mortgage your whole roster if you want to acquire Devin White, and you're certainly not going to sell him because is there any offer on the face of this planet that you're going to be comfortable with accepting to get rid of Devin White? So for that fact, it makes Devin White a hold for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
John?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a linebacker. Linebacker's a flat position. They're a dime a dozen. They're replaceable. I can wait and get Alex Singleton and be, 1 to 3 tackles a game different. So I'm good. I like him. He's great. Darius Leonard's great. TJ Watt's great. If I got my first pick for IDP, I'm going a position where it drops off a cliff, not linebacker or safety. That's just me, though. And I've been doing this so long, I'm just stuck in my ways and I'm inflexible and I'm grouchy about it. So yeah,
You're the get off my lawn kind of old man, right? Get off
I'm
my
not
lawn.
gonna get off my lawn guy. And I think, Chris has a really good point because there are a lot of people that are coming into this that are like newer, right? And they're using Sleeper, they're getting into IDP, they're learning about IDP. If that's the case, you absolutely want guys like this immediately. You want the Leonards, you want the Whites, you want those guys. You want a safe, productive IDP team, right? I know because I have to write my stupid articles every week. I have to do my podcast every week. I'm going to be doing so much research that I will find the Tyrell Adams of the world. I will find the Alex Singleton of the world. So I don't care about taking a linebacker first. I will never do that, but that's just me. Yeah. Sorry, rant over. Okay, moving on to
You're good, man.
The Bucks. Yeah, Devin White. I mean, that's probably the LB1 this year. I don't think it's like him or Leonard or some, it's close.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was actually going to hit you guys with this. So you got Roquan Smith, you got Leonard, and you got Devin White. Who you ranking 1, 2, 3?
Smith, White, Leonard.
I'm gonna go Roquan. Man, I loved Leonard though. I might go Roquan, Leonard, and then White in that order. And that's tough for me. I would prefer actually. You can't deny what Roquan Smith can do, and he's a few years younger. So all the dynasty nuts that kind of want to argue age here. But personally, from my perspective, I think it would be Leonard, Roquan, and then White in my eyes.
Yeah,
and that's part of that's offenses too, right? Like Tampa Bay's got a solid offense. They're not going to be on the field as much, and there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen there. They got a lot of productive IDP guys there. Levante David's right next to him, for Christ's sake. Antoine Winfield's behind him.
I was just waiting to use John. David is old, but gee whiz, man, he's good. He's so good. Yeah, I was going to go with, I'm giving my respect to the veteran. I'm going to go with Leonard and then Smith and then White. And I'm going to bring up something, and I know Devin White deserves any ranking up there in that top 3, number 1 or whatever that I see a lot of people doing. But I want you to go look at the average of what those players did last year. And I think the only reason that Leonard is falling a little bit is because everybody's looking at the overall aspect of what he did on the year. But I do believe he was injured for a game, missed a couple of games, or missed at least one game. But I think if we look on the average of what he was doing per week, that he was right there. Him and Devin White were real close. So, and, it just like you just mentioned, David in Tampa Bay, and when you look at this Tampa Bay defense, now let's give some credit. Colts have gotten a lot better. They got Buckner, Oak Creek is okay, but they are not Tampa Bay's defense. So Kevin White has more competition to get the meat off the bone than what Darius Leonard does.
Yeah.
So I have to go Leonard first, and then I got to give my kudos to Smith and then Devin White. That's this year at this brain fart at the moment. So please continue, John. You was going to finish up on Tampa Bay?
Yeah. Sorry. So Levante David, yeah, I'm still into it. I mean, dynasty-wise, he's getting a little old, but he's still super solid. You guys know that. Defensive end, if JPP is a DE, I'm into it. If he's an OLB, I'm not. Same thing with Sue. If he's a DT, I'm into it. If it's DE, very much less so. William Golston, I guess. I mean, it depends how deep the league is. There's no other real defensive tackle you want there. Safety, I'm into Antoine Winfield, obviously. Jordan Whitehead, I guess. Like stupid deep league, maybe, but that's it. Once again, too many chefs in the kitchen, right? So if I am taking people from this team, I'm taking the ones that are really, really good, not just mediocre good. And corners, Carlton Davis, yes. Jamel Dean and Murphy Bunting. We'll have to wait and see, because one of those other ones will be a full-time starter. I just don't know which one, because it kind of fluctuated all over the place last year. Whoever that other starter is will be worth a pickup for streaming corner, but that's it. Yeah, that's what I got. And I actually got to airlock myself, but thank you for having me on, Gary. It was good to see you guys, and you guys have a good rest of the week.
I'll talk to you later, John.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. With that being said, I think you need to be going too here real soon, right, Chris?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. All I have to do, just for anybody that doesn't know, I have to go to work at 10:30, a very important interview where it's going to decide my long-term fate. My dynasty outlook will be changing in about 30 or 40 minutes at my current employer. So I enjoyed being here. I'd love to do it more often. So, 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, there's not many other places and things I'd rather be doing than broadcasting with you two talking IDP. So if the door, going to invite myself. If the door is open, I will be here most Tuesdays at 9 a.m.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you coming on today, Chris. You got some good takes, and I know you're always out there helping the fantasy football community. And keep it up.
I will be in touch. You guys have a good Tuesday.
Thanks again. We'll talk, Chris. All right, so
and we're going to say goodbye too.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you for joining Getting Defensive. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will be back here Friday morning. Have a couple good guests coming on, and have a good rest of your day.
We'll be back here tomorrow morning with Jeff.
Oh, yeah. We got a special
edition tomorrow
with Jeff. He is wanting to talk about some draft stuff and.
Yeah, we're going to preview our draft guide at Gridiron Ratings draft guide. So I'd really like to encourage everybody to join us tomorrow or catch the rerun or whatever. We got some really cool stuff coming out of Gridiron Ratings, and it is about to start going down soon.
Right.
So until then, I guess we're out of here.
Have a good morning, everybody.
Bye. Can you still hear me?
I can.
All right. I think they can probably still hear us.